Welcome to the Mara channel and Meshmen Studio. So we're gonna continue this live stream session now where I left off. So I implemented decals on the asset. So we're gonna take a look at the rubber wheels this time. So yeah, if you're new here on my channel, this channel is about texturing, VFX, lookdev, cinematography, and so yeah, you can subscribe to my channel if you want to stay updated, and remember to click the bell notification. So my live sessions, it's kind of what it is. It's live, and yeah, we texture. This moment it's the project, it's my recreation of a old asset I've been using for tutorials for Renderman and my own personal work. So I'm recreating it in the node graph. So, and we also drink coffee here. We like coffee for Meshmen Studio. Encourage coffee over beer. That's better. And also leave your comments below if you see this on rerun, so I can cover whatever you want to. So yeah, we're soon about to get started here. So let's see if there's something here on the chat. So we're gonna dive into where I left off, and yeah. Let's do it now. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so we have this. Let's take this here. So this is where I left off. I exported this from Mari last time. I just plugged it in again into my check scene, my setup here. Just gonna do some quick renders and see how the decals ended up. Let's zoom into this one. Yeah, looks like it's... So I don't have any bump yet set up. Or displacement. Just gonna check the roughness on this decal. So I didn't really spend any time on the actual IOR and stuff, on the actual, let's see, decals. Sound is good. My moderator Tamara says sound is good, so that's good. Okay, so Swedish Army, we're all set. So I'm gonna concentrate on these suckers down here. Let's take a look there. So they are very bare at the moment. I want to do something to make these a little more interesting. I'm thinking some kind of rubber pads, like, you know, thick rubber or something. So let's take a browser and just take rubber wheel. I have some kind of references here. See what we can do. So kind of like thick rubber, but it's going to be very distressed and like scratched up. Let's see if we can find something interesting. Let's pause this render momentarily here. See what we want to go for. Rubber. Worn rubber or something. Here we go. So I'm thinking maybe something like these kind of wheels, but onto this. So that's a good reference. Something like scratched or a mix of it. So yeah, let's dive into Mori now and see what we can do. So I think I have the basic actual roughness values and stuff like that already set up. So it's just populating with displacements and breakup, stuff like that. So let's save these. Start Mori. Okay, so the last time I had some things I was about to do as well with this asset. So one thing, I have rebaked curvature since the last time, so I'm gonna hook that up first. So let's take a look. Let's close Maya. So yeah, make yourself comfortable in the chat as well, and if you have a coffee, enjoy it. So let's take a look here. We had so this was my bake, and it was very bad. And I rebaked. I'm not sure exactly. Yeah, there we go. So I rebaked the curvature high pass, so it's a little better fidelity. I rebaked it with my object. If I go to object, let's take my subdivide it as well, so I get some extra detail. So I'm gonna plug this in and see what happens. I will probably have to tweak the procedural texture some. I wanna do that. So first off, I have to find it. It's probably this one. Oh, what's the name? It's this one. So node graph focus on channel. So it ended up being over there. So let's scoot it over, see what we can do. I wish I could send it to nodes. That would be nice. At the moment there, I'm not sure if there's a way to select one node and just go somewhere else and just move it here easily. Kind of have to drag it. Let's see. Here we go. Bakes. Yeah. Okay. Let's take the curvature high pass. Should be this one. That was the old one. This is the new. And also, I think, yeah. If I do a dot node here. So this one was connected to a lot of radio nodes. So if I do a dot node and just switch this to there, it should be set up. Let's see. Yeah. So now all the places where this one was connected, I switched it over to that one. So let's see, my metal mask, use curvature. Yeah, so I guess now I have to reconfigure some of that. So let's take a look. If I switch this over now temporarily, go there. You can see the old one looks like that. It was a little more brutal. This one definitely is a lot finer now if I just switch it back. So I could probably take some parts of this later on, the old one, mix it in. But I'm just gonna tweak this one now temporarily. So where is my radio? It's probably this one. Yeah. So I want to see the end of this. And tweak the histogram scan. I wanna so that's the yeah. I'm just gonna see here what happens. There we have something. I'll level it there. This one I think I will ditch now when I have the new bake, because it seems to take away too much almost. Just gonna see here. Yeah, I'll delete this one. So that's a breakup one. I think there's another breakup here. Let's see, there's an additional. Let's see what it does. Okay, they give some medium-sized stuff there on the scratches. And probably with that, and this is the general one. Here's my painted scratches that I did a few episodes ago. So I think, yeah. Now my curvature is much better. So that's good. That's an improvement. Okay, so we're fine there. So let's jump into the rubber now. Gonna spend some time in this one. Just gonna look at the call out. Just gonna reshuffle some of these. Start to build something. So I guess an axis projection is probably something we can start with. So this is the diffuse color. So let's merge in an axis projection. So an axis projection is, for you who not used to the node graph, it's like a tree planar, but it's an extension pack, so you just plug one image into it instead of three. So let's take something. This one is probably something I want to use. So let's set the scale on this one. Let's take a look here what we had, what I thought was interesting. This one. Yeah. I'm gonna jump back to my rubber there. So let's take this and let's go to overlay. So this one I will probably also use for my base for my my bump and displacement. So let's make a radio node for this one as well. So I want it over. Oops, I forgot to connect it. Then I'm just gonna go toggle radio nodes. So it's connected but in the background. Okay, so this one I want to go overlay here as well with a different I think maybe actually just multiply it slightly. Here we have roughness, so I'm gonna use that one as well on roughness. So just gonna take it there. Maybe an overlay here. So here's the face and edge color. Let's break it up with that one as well, just temporarily now. And I will invert this, I think. Will probably make most sense. Same here. Okay, so do we have someone in chat? Yes, you can just type anything if you want to ask questions or anything. Okay, so now here we have a setup with face. Here's the diffuse, the base, the face and edge color, roughness, and the beginning of a bump there. So let's take a look at let's see, jump to radio node connection. Oops. So I'm gonna take a look at here first, see if it's working. Yeah. Rubber, here we go. the beginning of a breakup here. Yeah, it's picking up that. Okay, so I'm gonna do some additional stuff here. It's gonna find some maps. See what we have. So we're gonna go into my, where is it? Quick access. Textures. Maybe some so this one I downloaded from Substance. They have some kind of, this one will probably be cool. Take that one. Have to, since I upgraded my computer, I haven't set up, I had like a collection before in my old computer with all of these mapped into a folder. Let's see, do I actually have them here? No. What do we have here? This one is, can come in handy, those as well. Just gonna import those. Oops. This one I will definitely use for the tire as well. Let's take this one. And this one, I think. $136, $135, okay. Okay, so let's go back to the node graph again here and just start to hook up some more of these. So actually, I can have my all my tilables. I'm gonna reorganize this a bit. So can I have my tilables here on the side, like a so I'll need two more here. So that one. Another. Okay, let's set the scale for these first. Just gonna have them here like my adjustment place. Okay, so I'm gonna break up onto them. So this one, let's see, 20. So this one I'm gonna multiply into it as well. Can do it. Copy and paste these a few times. So diffuse 5 of those. Okay, and I want to add them here. So they're gonna come off after this one here. Let's drag them at the same time. Let's place them. Okay, here we go. Oh, and then let's toggle ready nodes off here now. So now if I go and change this one over in here, it's the main switch or the main knob for changing the pattern. So this one, let's multiply this, or actually probably, like, if this supposed to be scratches, we can make an like almost like it's gonna be scratched rubber, so you can make them white-ish or like brighten up the thing. So I think an invert on this pattern here for the this, so it looks, yeah, I think that could be cool for the rubber. So let's see here, and let's say that I want to screen this. and in the crevices they're gonna be less reflective. I want to make them less reflective, so this one's gonna be multiply. So I'm just doing some tweaking here now. This one as well, multiply. Roughness, same here. I have to invert this because I want it to be rougher in the crevices. So then I want it to become, let's see, scoot this over. Want some room here. This is the roughness, inverted. Let's set, I'm gonna level this. Slightly. Set the screen. So in the crevices, like it's been scratched, so there is gonna be like a rougher material there. The rubber is gonna be a bit rougher in the actual inside of the scratches there. So this one as well now. This is the displacement, or the actual scratches themselves. So this one I will definitely multiply here so it becomes darker. So imagine that 50% gray is 0 value, and whiter than 50% gray is gonna bump it up, and black is gonna knock it down. So let's see here. Let's go back to my no graph. So I will probably have to extend this a bit now. I can do that later. Okay. So let's take a look at the shaded version now. So see what happens when I shade this. So I have to get my bump map going because I haven't set up the bump map yet. So let's do something about that soon. So I'm also gonna use these scratches to actually add dirt with the scratches on top of these rubber what's it called, black wheels. So how are you doing in the chat? Are you excited? Anyone there? I can see there's people here, so let's see. Okay, so take a look at this now again. Gonna do the same with this one. Add some extra breakup from this map, and let's see here. Let's tweak the scale first, see what we have. Same goes here. So I need 5 here again. So this is the radio nodes. It's just so I don't have so much clutter going on into my scene, as I use this from one location. Otherwise I would have these lines going all over the place. Whoops. And the AIs, so we have a question 3tone 710. Hello, welcome back. We have a question: does the AI standard in Mario support Arnold 5? The new Arnold has a new shader. It's not the AI standard. I use it just to have something to preview, and I use Renderman, so it doesn't really match at all, but it should be at least in the ballpark for some kind of shading. So I hope Renderman actually make a preview shader. That's something I've requested for a long time for Renderman. I would like to see that. So now we're gonna hook up the new, let's hide these first. So I have a shortcut. Let's see if I have mapped a shortcut in. I have to temporarily move this. I have mapped a bunch of node shortcuts here in the what's it called? Toolbar. So if I select these here and say toggle radio nodes, it toggles them. You can also do that in the new extension pack. You have a right click and misc toggle radio nodes. But if I have a button, it's easier to just click it like that. So let's add this into the mix now. Just gonna add this. So I'm building like on the fly here. Okay, so take a look at the diffuse forest. So this one over here, I used a brighter value. I think I'm just gonna see if I just gonna go for overlay or something this time. So I guess some kind of additional breakup. Not sure. Maybe actually multiply. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I think multiply. I'm gonna switch here. If I hit the 1 button, I get the viewer on this node, and then I'm gonna go back here to my original. So this was for the original albedo, so it's gonna see how much it's changed. Then I can just hit between 1 and 2. And see. So yeah, I think something like that. And then I will probably use the curvature in the mix here, and also occlusion to do some extra stuff to this. Okay, so I think we're good there at the moment. And now we're gonna take a look here. So this one is definitely gonna eat away again, so let's take multiply, extra break up here. Let's actually take multiply, but I'm gonna treat it. If I do that and do a brightness lookup, so I can have a curve. So what I do, I just level the input here. So I make it a bit brighter in the from the midpoint and up. So I introduce some more contrast. Let's try that on this one as well. So now I just copy and paste the nodes. I have the same settings. And multiply it there as well. Okay, let's see, it's roughness. I'm gonna invert this. I can do that with the brightness lookup as well, actually. Then I can do the invert and the treatment in the same time. So let's see here. Okay. So I wanna screen this. But first I'm gonna invert this. So I take the brightness lookup, invert. Then I tweak the curve here. Maybe something like that. Okay, so the bump again here. It's gonna be multiply. Let's take a brightness lookup node. So I can tweak it some there. Okay, so there we have an extra layer of breakup on the tires. So let's go back here and see what, like, so we have some small pitted stuff going on. scratches here and there. Some is brighter, some is darker. So it's, I think it's gonna be, the impact's gonna be looking something like that when I get this displacement or bump going there. So let's see, I think I have to extend this bit because I'm gonna add some occlusion and curvature into the mix as well. Let's just take these. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna try to take the curvature and make the edges a bit brighter. So let's do that. Let's take a radio node here. So this is the curvature. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use which one is the best here. Let's see. So yeah, definitely this one had a lot of strange issues and I don't know what's going on there. I have to take this one. Can plug it in there. And hide the radio node there. So we're down there. Okay, so I'm gonna do bright. Now I can maybe histogram scan. Let's try that. So the histogram scan is like a contrast node. Let's take this. Let's go over, try screen here. Obviously it's a little bit over the top, so like it's been dried out in the corners like that. Let's see here. I'm not sure if sometimes you can see it on rubber, like it's almost whiter to the edges like this. So what I could do here is also add an additional breakup. So I could just take some of these maps maybe. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so maybe I wanna, or let's see, this one. So I'm gonna use the same noise there to break up this one. and toggle radio node again there, so it doesn't block that much. So this one is gonna be before I screen it. So let's go multiply there. It's gonna make some additional breakups so it doesn't look too uniform. So this one, sometimes I'm confused which node is what, and I just hit this hide. I have two nodes active. I can have one at a time as well. If I hit one button here, it's always gonna be just one node, like node property active. I have two in most times, and if I'm confused, I hit this clear, similar to you can do in Nuke, I think. Then you clear, and then you're definitely sure that this is the one that you've selected. So let's see. And actually, I think I'm gonna level this one a bit as well. So I really like brightness lookup for doing these kind of sharpness operations. Maybe not that successful there. Let's see. Something like that instead. So go to this one, the actual node operation here. Okay, so now it's not gonna be that much, just a bit breakup. Now maybe like some kind of large scale stuff going on as well. I will see. Okay, so we have this one, the curvature and the histogram. So I'm gonna use this one a few times. Just gonna copy and paste it. So I want, after the histogram scan there, just gonna hook it up. So if I change this one, it's gonna automatically change on all the other locations as well. So now we're gonna hide the inputs. Okay, so what we wanna do here. So let's make this, let's make it less reflective. So imagine that it's been dried out and it's even less reflective like than this surface. So therefore it's gonna be multiplied. So essentially, let's see, I can take this one instead, because that operation is already done there. So let's see. So what I'm gonna do is to invert it now. and then multiply it against this one. So that's the, let's see what happens if I do a clamp here, so I don't get some kind of strange values. And then go multiply. So there we get some breakup again on this one. This one's gonna be the same. Gonna steal it from there. Actually, I do this just now. So I don't really need that one or this one. The roughness. I wonder if I just gonna do a different take on the roughness and use another kind of breakup. Let's see. What do we have here? I'm going to do brightness lookup and tweak this independently. Over first invert. See, I want something that's kind of even broader there. No, actually, this is going to be screen because it's going to be even rougher. So let's see if I invert it again. I have to check it here actually. So screen, there we go. Okay, so I want to increase it, some of the values there. Then I'm gonna knock it down a bit. And this one, the bump map. Let's see. I think I'm gonna invert this. Let's see. Or I might have to do my own kind of setup here. Let's see. So now the brightest lookup here, and just gonna add it in here and see what's going on. We have to invert some stuff here. Let's take an overlay or something. Oh. Something like that, maybe. But not as brutal. It's gonna have this kind of. Okay, so let's go up here and look up some shaded stuff. So I still need to hook up now displacement or bump map on that one. And then I definitely need to work on the integration. Then I might even also start to paint some additional breakup. So this is more like the base procedural. Then I'm gonna have some additional painted scratches and stuff on top. And this one will definitely pick up better when I render it as well. It's kind of hard to see this. Really need to render it. So we have another question in the chat. Let's go over. Do you usually bake in Mari or Renderman? Usually at the moment I bake in Mari, but it's very slow. So I wish there's a bug in Renderman at the moment when I want to bake stuff that's have displacement. So that's kind of a drawback. That's something I hope they fix soon. Otherwise, yeah, Renderman has some really nice bake patterns and stuff I could use to mimic this kind of curvature and stuff like that. Okay. But at the moment, like the curvature I used in this one, it comes from the Modo so I use the curvature high pass to bake that the map that looks like. Let me take you to so this one is the curvature high pass. I'm just gonna turn off the LUT there for a moment. So the convex have one color and the concave another. Okay, while we're at it, I'm gonna use the occlusion here. So let's see. I have the occlusion here. I'm gonna use it on to these. Gonna do something with the occlusion, so let's take a radio node. Let's go down to my rubber. It's down there. It's starting to look kind of neat there with all the rubber. So I guess I'm gonna use it here at the end. Just gonna scoot this over a bit again. So let's see what we're gonna do with this one. Okay, so we have a radio node. Let's make a few more here now. So if you're gonna connect something that's that far away, but you have one connection, you can just drag the input out to this line and let it go. It's gonna hook up to whatever that one is hooked up to. Oops. Copy, paste. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just gonna steal this connection a few times. Then I'm gonna hide them. And now we can hide them. Okay, so now we have occlusion maps there, so we can do stuff with this. Let's do something with those. So I see that when I baked those, they were not the best ones. As with the curvature that I baked before, I think I'm gonna rebake this because I have some really funky stuff going on here. I think I had to even paint this out when I did the metal mask before, because it was making my life hard there. So yeah, and also we can see. Yeah, so I think what happened is, if I go back to the object here, just dock this here temporarily, and if I turn off my subdivision here, first off, I think I baked it with no subdivision, so that's gonna be one step that's gonna be problematic, but there's something else going on and some kind of intersection. So yeah, rebaking this will give better result later on, but at the moment I can use this just to temporarily see what's going on. Okay, so let's take these. What time is it? We've been doing this for an hour now, so I'm thinking, aiming for around my Sunday break-off point is 2 hours max. So I have a few, and in the end, if there's people around, I can have a Q&A or something. Okay, so my occlusion here, what does this look like? Turn on the LUT. So what can we do? We can first off, I have to level this, and so invert it as usual, or I can actually, let's see which one is the best. Histogram scan, maybe. Contrast. Oh, I think it's easy for me to visualize it with this one. So now we have the side. So I think actually I'm gonna use this mask to take away some of the effects, so it's been not as affected, if that makes sense, to kind of tone it with this. So let's say that we have a constant color that's gonna be a darker version of the original. The rubber albedo. Then we're gonna take the value down a bit here. Just a bit. So over, and use this as a mask. So that will essentially make the impression that it's not been as distressed in the middle there. Still gonna have a little, but just to knock it down a bit so it's look like it's not as worn into these areas there, if that makes sense. Like it's a little almost maybe even grade it down a bit. And what can we do? And this one is actually gonna be a little more like it's been not as scratched, so for the reflection and the roughness I think I'm gonna use this as well. So actually let's use this mask here. I'm gonna rewrote this one. Let's see. So now we're using this output as mask instead. And it's gonna be more reflective in the interior there, like it's not as worn. So let's see what we have here. So yeah, let's sample some colors. So this is the what's it called? Is it edge? And this is the face color. This is the facing IOR color. So let's make a color. Just gonna plug it in there. So it's less distress there as well. So if I now want to increase the reflectivity, I can do it with this slider here, or decrease it. But I want something that's kind of in the ballpark. Oops, what's going on? Mask. There you go. Just gonna tone it down a bit there. Maybe do the same here. So what do we have here? Let's see. So this one is more reflective on the grazing angles, and I want to take something that's in the same kind of value, so I knock it down with this. Let's see. So it's less distressed towards the bottom and on the interior bits there. So the roughness in Renderman, or I think in Arnold as well, if something is whiter, it's gonna be more rough. So I'm thinking going like it's less distressed, so therefore it's gonna be a bit darker and shinier on these kind of bits there. So let's take a color. So I want to sample the middle value there and just go a bit darker like that. 0.2 maybe. Hook it up to the over and mask it. That was definitely too much, but rest assured we can fix that. Maybe 2.5, and then I can just take the slider here, the amount, and just knock it down a bit again. Actually, let's take 100% and then take this one until it looks good instead. Something like that. Okay, so on the bump, let's take the gray constant, hook it into the over, use this as a mask. So now I'm just knocking this down a bit. So I will try with that and see how it looks. Maybe I'm gonna revisit that part a bit later on. Okay, so there we have something for the rubber tires. So I'm gonna try and start to hook up the displacement now for the tire. Let's take another light here, so we have something more contrasty to see the effect of this. Okay, so environment, I want this one. So later on I'm gonna add some large scale painted dent onto this as well as a second, like the last step. And then I'm gonna add the dirt into the crevices with some of the masks. So I'm gonna use my patterns here to add dirt into the darker areas, stuff like that. Okay, so we have this bump here, and let's see what we have here. Should be this one. Yeah. So there we go. Okay. Let's hook it up into the shader and see now. Let's see here. Shader, shader, shader. I don't think I have a bump mat set up yet. Bump map. What was it called? I have to check here. Bump out. Okay, there we go. And let it calculate first. Let's see if this becomes heavy now. It's kind of starts to get heavy. So what I can do is to bake some, because this one is really, there's a lot of things going on into the shaders now. Everything is live, so that this is where I have to start to use my bake point nodes. But let's zoom in here first. Okay, so I'm gonna actually do that now, because this is becoming really heavy. It's gonna offload some of the, when you start to use bump and stuff, it becomes heavy. Let's see here. It's gonna temporarily disable. See that you can do everything in real time. When you do the bump, it just becomes super expensive. So one part of that is all of this. So what I can do, I can just make a let's see if I make the bake point node here and see if it becomes better. So it's gonna be a scalar 4K. No, let's make it 2K. So it might take a little while to bake this. So what it does, it bakes everything down, and it's gonna look like tomorrow, like it's just a paint layer. So that's gonna be inexpensive. It doesn't have to recalculate everything upstream of that node. So let's see, it's baking shader 57%. Just give it a go, and I'm gonna reconnect that bump map into the shader and see if it's easier for Mari to cope with this. So yeah, I usually don't use bump and displacement that often because it can become quite heavy, and if I do, I try to pre-bake and do stuff like this to really have the speed that I want. So mostly I'm just imagine what the outcome. So now it becomes green here. It tells me that everything upstream of this is baked. So let's take the shader again and see if how it looks. Bump. Bump out. Oops, the cat wants to go out, hold on. Here's the cat. Okay, so I'm back and Chloe is gone. So this was kind of expensive still. Well, I guess it's not just the bump because I have all of those networks set up. So let's see here. I'm gonna bake them all in turn here to and we can see the speed that I can do this in. So everything is live beneath this. So okay, we have the diffuse. Let's insert this just to as my, if I want to preview stuff with shading and stuff, I can use this. So this one is scalar. This one is not. Or actually this is color, so it shouldn't be scalar as well. It doesn't matter really. This was for preview purposes. Okay, so I'm gonna bake all of these and then I'm gonna see the speed here when I have the bump in connected as well, because then it should be really fast actually, just to prove that we can do a test here. So I'm gonna bake all of those three there, so bear with me. I'm out of coffee. So in the meantime, here's a really nice book that I bought recently. It's The Making of Standard Cubrix 2001. So it looks like a monolith. This is what I bake. And it has really nice images from when they record, and there's even pop out stuff. Super cool. And when I don't have any inspiration, I look in these kind of books. So it's from Taschen. It's The Making of Standard Cubrix 2001 Space Odyssey, and it comes in some kind of sleeve, and Looks like a monolith. Let's see. Now that's baked. Now let's take the other two and then we can see the speed. And let's bake this one as well. So we have another question here while I bake. What's the difference between scalar and not? Scalar and not, it's just for the color lookup. So in Mari 3 now, if you have everything set up, it linearizes your color data. So everything internally in Mari is linearized, and it's just a way to tell what nodes is gonna be applied the lookup to. So for example, bump maps and displacement, for those to work correctly, they're gonna be scalar data, and for you to be able to preview them as scalar data, as like not an extra lot applied to them, you have the option to set the scalar data, but internally they are treated scalar anyway. So it's like temporarily disabling the viewer lookup down there. So this is linear scalar data. This is what you're gonna export in the end. But this might look too saturated and dark, so therefore we apply a LUT. So in my case I have an sRGB LUT. You can have other LUTs that gonna be show LUTs, or you can even have none here to disable this, but without setting. So yeah, it's a way to tell Mari that don't apply a LUT on this one, but everything is linear. If you set it up, if you don't do something, for example, you can turn off color management as well. You can say that something is like raw data, and then it can become a little strange, but that's something I really never do. I'll let Mari handle the colors. Okay, so let's see here. So let's bake this one as well. And now we should be able to spin around in the shader and see stuff on the fly much easier. Let's see here. So, and while we bake, here's another thing that a book, Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull. It's a nice book. It's tells you how Pixar came to be, and it's very interesting read if you're bored. Okay, so soon it's baked. Ricardo Alves, this video is great. Thanks, appreciate it. I'm trying to help out as much as I can. Let's see here, soon. Okay, so now all of those are green. So now if I take my shader, should be much easier to tumble around this one. So bump out, just give it a second here. While it updates. It's not the fastest actually. Not sure what's going on here. Usually it's a lot faster. I have to go here and see here on my GPU preferences what's going on. This one is a little troubling. I have my bump out, call out. Let's temporarily disable this here. It's gonna see here if I can tweak the GPU. So I'm not sure what settings I have. Let's see, GPU. Okay. Let's see. First off, I'm gonna try and turn off allow depth projections. That's usually one of the bad guys when it comes to speed. Let's see now. Bump out. I can't talk about Mari 4 because it's not out yet. So this one is not what the speed I want it to be. Let's see if I can tweak this off. Let's see, I have to open my GPU settings here. It's very fast without bump. So heads up display. Oops. Let's see what's going on. Now it's just behaving. Let's see, heads up display. I think I disable it. There we go. Just gonna see what I have free. I have a lot of free GPU stuff going on, so I can tweak this. Okay. Let's see. So I'm gonna tweak the virtual texture size and the texture depth here. And see what's going on. See if I can so now it's starting to allocate more video memory there. Oops. Let's try that and see how it reacts. I might have to come back to debugging this. Sometimes if just restart Mari, it might be faster, but this one is ridiculously slow. This when I zoom in. Okay, so at least. Oh well. Not sure why it's behaving like this now. Let's just crank up the bump now as to see here. Might have to see if there's new drivers. I haven't updated my graphics drivers for a while, so that might be one thing that I can check as well. But yeah, and let's see, there's another few modes here as well. I can try, see if I can get some speed into this. There's on the GPU side, we have this shader compilation, dynamics, fast and infrequent shader compilation, worse frame optimize, let's try automatic, see what happens. It's still very slow and oh wow, automatic for the win. Now it's lighting fast, it just needs to load a bit there. Woo! So my system likes automatic. I thought it was very, because I've managed to get a decent speed out of this. Now it's lighting fast even with the bump on here. So yeah, that's a good one. If you can, if your system allows it, automatic seems to be the best choice. Okay, so okay, yeah. So I'm planning. So let's see. I can take some of these actually. The bumps here and incorporate them into the dirt map now temporarily to see where we're heading next. So I guess the dirt map is something that I'm gonna work on the next time. The next long session is gonna be mostly about doing a proper dirt map, because this one is more like a sketch, so to speak. So this one is the next focus, my dirt map. Let's see how it looks. There's probably nothing special going on here. So I want to incorporate some of that scratches from this. This one. So let's take a radio node and scoot it over to my dirt. So the dirt map is gonna be a really complicated node, I guess, in the end. So I might have to extend this quite a bit. This is where I will spend a lot of time. So right now I'm just gonna do a test here to just take some of these values and incorporate them into the dirt map, the dirt mask. So I'm gonna do a brightness lookup. Inverted, so it's gonna be let's hide this input as well there and just do a really quick ninja insertion here. Let's let's see, and then so it's gonna be over. Obviously I don't want the whole entire, it's just gonna be where the tires are, or the rubber is, so I need a rubber ISO map. Let's see. I need this one. So I will probably share all of these into there as well, as I start to work with different parts of this. So they're gonna have their own strands kind of into this dirt mask. But now I'm just gonna chuck it in here and rework it later, just to have a demonstration of where I'm heading with this. So if I look here now, and let's turn off this HUD thing. It's just annoying. So if you hit right click, display properties, on the top there you have the heads up display. I just turn it on when I need it, like when I'm tweaking GPU and stuff like that, so I see the GPU memory. Okay, so now here we have it temporarily. Let's screen this onto so now if I go up here and look at this one, so now we also see here for you who is new to node graph and the bake point nodes, we can see that I did something to the graph below and they became red, and that's because I added something. So everything upstream of this is now, oh, it's cached, so you can temporarily disable this or you can rebake it, that's up to you. So let's look at this node, because this one is not cached. This is what's feeding into it. Okay, and here we go. Just gonna see here if I disable or enable this one. Nothing happens there. It's because, yeah, it was I had a bake point node there as well. So now we see, now we can see the result of that. Okay, let's go back here again. So now we're adding dirt into the crevices there. So that's something I'm gonna do with some of the patterns there. So I can like take this radio node here. This one was the, yeah. Okay, so we have looking there. Gonna jump back to this one and just tweak it now. And with the brightness, look up. Oops, I think I looking at the wrong node there. Let's see what's going on. Something happened here now. This one should be correct. We have a radio node there. Bear with me, see if I did something strange here. Take this away. Just gonna do some house cleaning here because this mask here was a little dirty. I might have actually done something to this one. Now it's there. Go to jump to the radio node connection. So whatever is there, yeah. Okay, so it's definitely working. I just have to tweak this. So we want this kind of things going on into the dirt mask later on. Okay, so there we go. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what's gonna happen next. So what time is, yeah, it's 2 hours. It's starting to clock out. So if you wanna ask something, do it now, or otherwise I'll see you the next time, I guess. So let's see. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today, covering this basic of the rubber setup here. And next time I think I will focus on the dirt mask. And if you're new here on my channel, if you see this on the rerun, just subscribe if you want to see more of these kind of tutorials or other tutorials. It's gonna come some other tutorials later on when this asset is finished. It's gonna be I'm thinking maybe doing some kind of building or something like that. So maybe take some photogrammetry, rebuild some simple geometry and start to map buildings and environments and stuff like that. Yeah, so you know what to do. Write your comments below if you want to see something the next time, and hit the subscribe button if you want to support my channel. And yeah, see you in the next time, and have a good day.